Look who's here, Senator Eric Schmitt from Senate Commerce. It's good to see you, sir. You were the Missouri Attorney General. You in Louisiana sued the Biden White House over big tech censorship. This breaking news earlier today, federal judge Terry Dowdy, he's saying to the Justice Department, no, we're not going to put a stay on the ruling that puts limits on the White House talking with social media about things like censorship. They're going to the Fifth Circuit for an emergency stay. What do you think of the action here?
It's unbelievable that the Biden administration, after they lost a really important, perhaps the most consequential First Amendment case in generations, actually went back to the judge and said, Judge, please let us continue to censor Americans. And the judge, of course, said no. What's been uncovered in this case, Liz, has been a censorship enterprise that's bigger than anybody could have possibly feared. And it's been uncovered. The Twitter files certainly amplified it. Elon Musk buying Twitter was another very important development in all this, because all of this now has been unmasked. You got agencies across the board that were working directly with and coercing social media giants to censor Americans and violate their First Amendment rights. And that's what this case represents, getting us back to a place where people can speak freely and openly without the threat of government censorship.
Now there's fears that Facebook's version of the Twitter app, it's called Threads, which is such a lame name. It's like, you know, Coach renaming itself Tapestry. Can we stay on this for a second, Senator? Because the media is saying, well, you know, this was just the government has a right to fix wrong information about things like COVID vaccines having microchips in them. Was that what it's about? Is it bigger than that?
Yeah, but listen, the government has zero business telling you or I what we can see, what we can hear, and what we can believe.
Well, how bad did it get?
I mean, you had the Surgeon General of the United States working directly with senior Facebook officials to take posts down. You had CISA, an agency that somehow believes that they're in charge of determining what is misinformation and disinformation. So this injunction goes to White House officials, the FBI, because we know that the FBI was involved with sort of undermining the Hunter Biden laptop story, even though they already had the laptop. That was uncovered in this lawsuit. So across the board, this administration has engaged in a vast censorship enterprise that ought to scare every American who believes that one of our fundamental rights is to speak our mind.
Well, what's wild is the government thinks it can have a backdoor, as it has had, into Twitter before Musk took it over, and into Facebook in order to manipulate the national conversation. And now it feels like, you know, the national conversation is getting reset. You know, to what you're saying, a lot of the anger about censorship has to do with shutting down critics of vaccines, which now Dr. Fauci admits does not stop COVID, don't work, they have serious side effects. Let's watch RFK Jr. on this. Watch this.
What is the biggest positive thing you think Anthony Fauci did for the world? What is good that he has done for the world, especially during this pandemic?
Well, I don't want to sit here and speak uncharitably by saying the guy didn't do anything, but I can't think of anything.
Do you think he believes he's doing good for the world?
I don't know what he believes. A lot of things that I think are really very, very bad things for humanity, very deceptive. I think he was a genuinely bad human being.
Those are strong words. What do you think, Senator?
Well, I think anybody who bought a Fauci candle ought to make sure they have it in the trash can by now. He's a fraud. And I'll give you three examples. Origins of COVID. He tried to label anybody a conspiracy theorist who said it started in the Wuhan lab. We know now, of course, that it did, and that he was funneling money to that Wuhan lab. He called anybody a conspiracy theorist who questioned whether or not the vaccine would prevent transmissibility of COVID. We know that the vaccines don't stop that, but yet he wanted to shut everybody down. And also efficacy of masks. When I took his deposition in this lawsuit, we found out that he actually didn't believe that masks work anyway, even though he's telling the American Republic that it did. So this guy's a total fraud. Yeah,
and in your deposition, Dr. Fauci said, well, you know, he was downplaying the lab leak theory because he wanted to keep China, you know, in diplomacy going, to keep talking to China, to get China to cooperate. He's not a diplomat, right? So that came out too. All right, Senator Schmitt, thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Liz.